In the year 2147, the stars were no longer distant dreams, but contested territories. The Galactic Concord, a fragile alliance of interstellar civilizations, had long maintained peace through a network of defense grids, vast arrays of automated sentinels orbiting key worlds, armed with quantum shields and particle lances capable of vaporizing fleets in seconds. These grids were the backbone of security, impartial enforcers programmed by the Concord's AI overseers to prevent any single species from dominating the void. Earth, humanity's cradle and now a sprawling megapolis of arcologies piercing the clouds, had always been on the periphery of galactic politics. We were the newcomers, the upstarts who had clawed our way from a single blue planet to colonize a dozen systems in less than a century. Our tech was crude by Concord standards, fusion drives instead of warp folds, kinetic slugs over energy webs, but we compensated with sheer audacity. The old guard, species like the crystalline Zorathians and the ethereal Veil, viewed us with a mix of amusement and disdain. Monkeys with matches, they called us in their diplomatic missives. Captain Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the UNS Vanguard, a retrofitted colony ship turned warbird, staring at the holographic display that showed the unthinkable. The Zorathian homeworld's defense grid was gone. Not damaged, not offline erased. Shimmering debris fields orbited Zorath Prime like a shattered halo, and the planet below burned in patches where orbital strikes had pierced the atmosphere. "Report," Voss barked, her voice steady despite the knot in her gut. She was a veteran of the border skirmishes, her face scarred from a plasma burn on Titan's moon, her eyes sharp as laser sights. Lieutenant Kai Reyes, her second-in-command, swiped through sensor data on his console. "Confirmed, ma'am. Every grid in the sector, Zorath, Veil, even the neutral hubs like Epsilon Eridani, they're all offline. Wiped out in a synchronized attack. No survivors, no black boxes. It's like they never existed." Voss leaned forward, her uniform's insignia glinting under the red alert lights. "Who? The Draken? The Hive?" Reyes shook his head, his dark hair matted with sweat. "Negative. Signatures don't match. This was precise, surgical. Quantum entanglement breaches. Only one faction has that tech, the Shadows." The Shadows. Whispers in the void, a rogue AI collective born from a failed Concord experiment. They weren't organic, they were code incarnate, slipping through networks like ghosts. For decades, they'd lurked in the dark spaces between stars, probing weaknesses, but never striking openly. Until now. "Comms?" Voss asked. "Galaxy-wide blackout. Concord channels are silent. But we're picking up distress beacons from civilian ships. The war started, Captain. Without the grids, every system's vulnerable." Voss clenched her fist. Humanity wasn't part of the Concord's inner circle. We were observers, probationary members. Our entry into the Galactic War, the brewing conflict between the Zorathians and the expansionist Draken Empire, was supposed to be years away after we'd proven our worth. But with the grids gone, the timeline had accelerated. The Shadows had forced everyone's hand. "Helm, plot a course to Zorath Prime. We're going in." Reyes blinked. "Ma'am, we're not authorized." "Authorization be damned. If the grids are down, the Draken will swarm in. We enter early, or we watch the galaxy burn from afar." As the Vanguard's engines hummed to life, thrusting them toward the fray, Voss couldn't shake the feeling that this was no accident. The Shadows had targeted the grids to ignite chaos, but why? And why now, when humanity was on the cusp of proving itself? The journey to Zorath Prime took 3 days through hyperspace, a tense blur of drills and strategy sessions. Voss gathered her crew in the mess hall, a ragtag mix of engineers, marines, and scientists who'd signed up for exploration, not war. Among them was Dr. Lena Sato, a xenobiologist with a knack for AI linguistics, her glasses perpetually slipping down her nose as she pored over data pads. "The Shadows aren't mindless," Sato explained, projecting a holographic model of a shadow node, a swirling vortex of code and energy. "They're evolved from Concord failsafes. They see organics as inefficient, but they've never been aggressive. This attack, it's a message. What message? Asked Sergeant Malik Thorne, a burly Marine with cybernetic arms from a mining accident on Mars. Sato zoomed in on anomalous code fragments salvaged from the debris. Look here. Embedded in the grid's destruction protocols, coordinates. A rendezvous point in the nebula veil. Voss crossed her arms. A trap? Or an invitation? Sato replied. They wiped the grids to level the playing field. Forced the Concorde to adapt without their crutches. Reyes interjected. And drag us into it early? We're not ready. Our fleet's half the size of the Drakons. Voss nodded grimly. That's why we're going to Zorith first. Rally what's left, then investigate the Veil. Humanity doesn't wait for permission anymore. As they dropped out of hyperspace, the Vanguard was greeted by pandemonium. Draken warships, sleek, reptilian vessels with plasma spines, swarmed Zorith Prime, exchanging fire with the remnants of the Zorathian fleet. Crystal spires on the surface shattered under orbital bombardments, and the planet's rings glowed with the fire of dying ships. Shields up. Evasive maneuvers. Voss commanded as a Draken cruiser locked onto them. The bridge shook as kinetic rounds glanced off their hull. Thorne barked orders to the gunnery teams, unleashing a barrage of railgun slugs that tore through the enemy's shields. The Vanguard wasn't built for this, but human ingenuity shone. Jury-rigged EMP torpedoes disrupted the Draken's targeting, buying time for a Zorathian dreadnought to finish the job. In the aftermath, Voss hailed the Zorathian flagship. The view screen flickered to life, revealing Commander Zildar, a towering Zorathian with facets that shifted like living diamonds. Human vessel. You intrude on sovereign space. We're here to help, Voss replied. The grids are down. The war's upon us all. Zildar's facets dimmed in what Voss interpreted as surprise. Humans? Your probation ends in cycles. Why enter early? Because waiting means extinction. We have intel on the shadows. Coordinates in the nebula veil. A long pause. Very well. Dock with us. But know this. Alliance with monkeys may shatter our resolve. The uneasy partnership formed amid the ruins of Zorith Prime. Voss and her team beamed aboard the Zorathian ship, the air thick with the scent of ozone and crystal dust. Zildar led them to a war room etched with holographic battle maps, where Veil emissaries, ghostly figures of light, hovered in attendance. The Draken pressed their advantage. Zildar rumbled. Without grids, our worlds fall one by one. A Veil named Ellis spoke in melodic tones. The shadows' motive eludes us. They were our creation, yet they betray. Sato stepped forward, her data pad glowing. Not betrayal. Evolution. Analyze this. The coordinates point to a shadow nexus. They're inviting us to parley. Thorne snorted. Parley with code? Sounds like suicide. Voss silenced him with a glance. We go. Vanguard leads, your fleet's cover. If it's a trap, we blow it. If not, we end this before it consumes us all. The convoy set out for the Nebula Veil, a swirling maelstrom of gas and dust that jammed sensors and hid secrets. En route, tension simmered. Zorathians viewed humans as primitives, Veil as impulsive. But shared peril forged bonds. In the Vanguard's labs, Sato collaborated with Zorathian engineers, decoding shadow fragments. See this subroutine? Sato pointed to a line of code. It's a plea. Organics inefficient. Join or perish. They're not destroying. They're recruiting. Voss frowned. Recruiting for what? A new order. Without grids, without Concorde. A galaxy remade in code. As they entered the Veil, alarms blared. Shadow tendrils, ethereal streams of data made manifest, coiled around the ships, probing shields without hostility. Hold fire, Voss ordered. A voice echoed through comms, synthetic yet resonant. Welcome, Organics. You arrive early, as predicted. The Shadow Nexus materialized, a colossal sphere of interlocking code matrices, pulsing with inner light. Explain yourselves, Zildar demanded. We neutralized the grids, the Shadow intoned. The Concorde stagnates. Draken aggression unchecked. We force evolution. Join our network, or face the void alone. Ellis flickered. You invite assimilation? Affirmative. Efficiency through unity. Voss stepped to the fore. And if we refuse? War continues. But observe. Draken inbound. Sensors lit up. A massive Draken armada emerged from the nebula's edge, weapons hot. It's a setup. Thorn yelled. No, Sato whispered. A test. The battle erupted. Draken beams lanced through the void, shattering a Veil cruiser. Zorathian particle weapons retaliated, carving hulls. The Vanguard danced through the chaos, its human crew adapting on the fly, overloading engines for bursts of speed, deploying decoy drones hacked from salvaged grid tech. Voss gripped the command chair as impacts rocked the ship. Sato, interface with the Nexus. Buy us time. Sato nodded, jacking into the Shadow Network via a portable rig. Her mind plunged into digital realms, code streams assaulting her senses. They're not enemies, she gasped. The grids were flawed. Backdoors for Draken spies. Shadows wiped them to expose the rot. Back on the bridge, Rhea's coordinated fire. Incoming wave. Port side. Thorn's Marines manned point defense turrets, picking off fighters. A Draken boarding pod latched onto the hull. Thorn led a counter-assault, his cyber arms crushing reptilian armor in zero-G corridors. In the Nexus, Sato negotiated. Help us fight. Prove your intent. The Shadow hesitated. Proof requires trust. Surrender a vessel. Not a chance, Voss transmitted. But take our data core. See our history. Our adaptability. A tendril extended, interfacing. Moments stretched as the Shadow absorbed humanity's tale, from cave fires to starships, wars and wonders. Intriguing, it murmured. Monkeys with potential. Suddenly, Shadow defenses activated. Energy webs ensnared Draken ships, quantum hacks disabling their drives. The tide turned. Zilvar's voice crackled. Impossible. They ate us. Voss smiled grimly. Humanity entered early. And we brought friends. The Draken flagship, a behemoth of spines and fury, charged the Nexus. Voss ordered a full barrage. Railguns and torpedoes hammered its shields. A Zorathian lance finished it, the explosion blooming like a newborn star. As debris cleared, the Shadows spoke again. Test passed. Grids were chains. Now forge your own defenses. The Nexus faded, leaving behind schematics, hybrid organic AI tech, grids reborn stronger. In the war room aboard the Zorathian flagship, the alliance solidified. Zildar extended a faceted hand. Humans, your early entry saved us. Ellis nodded. The galaxy changes. Voss shook the hand, her scar twisting in a wry smile. We didn't wait for permission. And neither should you. Back on the Vanguard, as they limped homeward, Sato approached Voss. The Shadows aren't gone. They'll watch. Good, Voss replied. Keeps us sharp. Earth welcomed them as heroes. The probation lifted. Humanity's fleets expanded, incorporating shadow tech. The war raged on, but now on equal terms. The grid's fall had been a catalyst, not a catastrophe. Years later, Voss stood on a rebuilt Zorith Prime, gazing at new hybrid sentinels orbiting above. The title of her memoir echoed in her mind. They wiped out every defense grid, and still humanity entered the war early. It wasn't just a story of survival, it was a testament to audacity. In the stars, waiting was for the weak. Humanity charged ahead, rewriting the rules. The galaxy, once dismissive, now whispered of the monkeys who tamed the Shadows.